Well, many of us have heard someone say, hey, they beat the odds, but few of us have actually experienced that.
And that is what one Abilene man has been doing his whole life. But he recently made a risky decision that changed everything. KTexas anchor Braid Blanks has this special report.
Can you show them what happened at the end?
This is Hunter Hanner. He's a businessman, a husband, a father, and he's been living with an extremely rare blood disorder his entire life.
Chronic granulomatous disease is what I had. My blood doesn't kill bacteria is what the deal was, so I couldn't kill infection. I could kind of wall it off, but I couldn't get rid of it.
He was only the 100th person in the world to be diagnosed with the condition at just 2 years old, and the prognosis wasn't good.
There wasn't many kids older than me that had it because they didn't know what it was, and you typically got an infection and didn't make it. It got bad and you didn't make it.
As a child, Hunter had to be on constant guard against any and all germs. That is not easy for a 3-year-old, but he did it. For years, Hunter surprised the doctors, doing better than most with CGD. He eventually married his high school sweetheart, Jennifer.
At 15, you don't really grasp how life-altering it really was. But, you know, by the time you fall in love, I mean, it just becomes a part of your life.
The future was always uncertain.
We didn't ever talk about 50-year anniversaries and stuff just because it's kind of, you don't talk about it.
Not long after Hunter turned 30, they decided to seriously consider the only real cure, a bone marrow transplant, which was risky in itself.
That was what was tough, was going into it knowing, okay, I'm making a decision that I got a 20% chance of not making it. So I don't want to do that and be wrong, but if I just keep doing what I'm doing, no one has any clue. I might live here 5 more years, or I might make it 40 more years. No one knows.
They prayed, moved forward, and found a donor match. They knew they had a long road ahead of them.
The combination of my blood disorder, they had never done a transplant on at that hospital. The first 10 days, all I did was take lots and lots of chemo. I mean, lose your hair immediately, don't feel good at all. I mean, you're taking, they're literally poisoning your whole system and killing everything in your system in 10 days. It is one of those deals, if you sat and worried about it, you'd go insane.
At first, doctors called him the poster child for bone marrow transplant. But in June, Hunter took a dramatic downhill turn. It even looked like he might not make it at times.
You go from thinking, man, I've got this thing whipped, to worse shape than you actually were before the transplant. And that month was really hard emotionally. I mean, I know my parents were scared. She was scared. I don't remember the first 2 weeks of that.
One of our toughest days, Hunter started on new chemo, and they called it shake and bake. And so he had basically full body chills uncontrollably for the morning, and then all afternoon he was just burning hot with fever. Then the evening came around, and our church had a carnival in our honor. They filmed a video message for us, and it just felt like a big hug from 6 hours away.
But Hunter was a fighter and slowly started getting better. He and Jennifer said their church supported them through their darkest hour.
We had thousands of people praying for us, and you could feel it.
Jennifer started a blog about their journey. They had no idea the attention it would bring.
We had people in Russia, we had people in the Middle East, we had people in Africa, people in Europe, all over the entire world reading her blog. And I was getting so many blood transfusions, they started running out of my blood type at the blood banks there at the hospital. So my mom literally started just via Facebooks and the blog and that kind of stuff. They started just getting the word out, and I mean, the blood bank literally called us and said, I don't know who you are, I don't know what this is about, but they were having so many people come in there, like, they got to start scheduling because we've got too many people coming in.
Finally, after 4 months of IVs, daily injections, hundreds of pills, and lots of pain, Hunter was given the all clear to go home.
But it just goes on, kind of makes you look and sound like Darth Vader.
They now have to take extreme measures to ward off germs. Hunter wears this mask on his rare trip out in public. Whee! He even has to wear a paper mask like this one when they're playing outside with the kids. But he says he would do it all over again for the future he'll now likely have.
She just kept telling herself, this is why I'm doing it, is so I can be around for my kids and I can raise my kids and see my grandkids.
Braid Blanks.
Look at me.
You
gotta help me. You gotta kick your feet.
KTexas News.
The Hanners were away from their children for 4 months during the transplant. Right now, the kids are mostly at home, but they won't be able to be around any other children or see their friends for another 6 weeks to keep them from getting any germs. If you'd like to follow Hunter's progress, we'll have a link to Jennifer's blog on our website, ktxs.com.
Goes to show you it takes more than just a family sometimes to get somebody through a sickness. It takes an extended family.
Yes, great story.